Hey everyone, so today I'm out doing a day hike, just walking Jack the dog and having some fun out here in the woods. And I thought I brought my tarp along, and I figured I'd do a video showing the various ways to pitch a tarp when you're out backpacking, kind of the various ones for fair weather setup down to the really well protected setup. So I got it pitched up here in the first configuration, so we'll bring you in for a look as we go through all the setups. Here we go. Before we get started here, just going to note this is a Cooke custom sewing Trundra tarp, Silnylon. This one is 8 foot by 10 foot, which is plenty of room for up to 3 people depending on how you pitch it. So now let's get into the different tarp pitches. Okay, so the first setup we're going to go over here is the lean-to setup. Really good pitch for nice weather, gets a lot of coverage under it as well. The way I've got it going here is, you can see, is between 2 trees, and I've got this ridge line here strung up, and then the corner is attached with a prusik knot, which is great, lets me tighten it up all the way in this direction, and then it won't slip, but I can easily come and grab it, slide it down if I need to. So it's just a diagonal sheet really. You'd sleep down under there, eat plenty of room for 2 people. And then just a stake in that corner and a stake in that corner at minimum. I do another one here in the middle just to give it some more stability. But anyway, there's a look at how to pitch your tarp as a lean-to. Alright, next up we have the AFrame setup, which I'm sure you guys have seen before. It's very popular because it works really well. Little AFrame tent there, plenty of room in there for 2 people. You could probably squeeze 3, especially if you deployed these pullouts that I added, which I'll link to the video I made to add those real quick. But again, just strung up on the ridge line with the prusik knot, a stake in each of the 4 corners. If it's wind's blowing or whatever, you can add a stake here to the middle, help tighten it down. And if you're not really expecting a driving rain, you can see I've got it pitched the corner all the way to the ground here. You might want to put a little piece of cordage here and tie that off so you get a little bit of a gap under this edge. It'll give you some better airflow in there, which is nice. But that there is the AFrame setup. Alright, this next pitch is a variation of the AFrame. What I've done is taken the AFrame like this side and just pulled this side up with a trekking pole, so you kind of get, it's kind of like a hybrid between the lean-to and the AFrame. And won't give you as good of weather protection, but it gives you a ton of space under there. As you can see, easily 3 people. You could probably even do 4 if you don't mind getting cozy, but great setup if you're not expecting much rain. The only problem with it is that this top piece, it's kind of tough to get it to pitch really taut, and it won't drain very well. It'll tend to pool water up in there. So if you're expecting some light drizzle or something, it'd work really well. But any kind of significant rain or wind-blown rain, you'd probably want something else. But I've used this several times, really like it, because when you're sleeping under it, you get decent protection, and you also get a look out. It gives you a good view of the woods around you. So there is the modified AFrame setup. Next up, we have another popular setup. This is the half pyramid. Very popular because you get great coverage with it, because 3 of the 4 sides are totally pinned down. You got your entry point over here. The downside is it can get a little crammed in there. For 1 guy, it's still plenty of a palace. With 2 guys, it would work better if you pitched it a little bit higher. I've got it this end here pitched a little low. You could definitely raise the ridge up to give you some more room under there. Or another thing you can do, if you've got pullouts like this, or along, one of the nice things about this tarp is it has pullouts along this seam. I'll show you real quick. If you get some of those pulled out, it'll give you make a world of difference for you under there. So let's show you that real quick. Okay, so here's that half pyramid setup again. You can see on this seam here where I've got some pullouts, I got the center one and this bottom one here rigged up to the ridge line there in 2 different places to help lift the top off. You get kind of a side profile here. You can see that gives you quite a bit more room under there, as opposed to just the uniform slope up to there. So that's a good idea. You don't lose any weather protection at all by doing that, but it really helps open up the side. If you guys seen my tarp pull-out video, you've seen if you pull these side ones out, that's another great way to add some room under there where still keep a really nice low profile. So half pyramid is a great setup, really popular for good reason. I mean, you basically just point, make sure the wind is coming from this way, and you're gonna stay plenty dry in that thing. So there is the half pyramid tarp pitch. All right, one final pitch I'll be showing you guys here is the flying diamond, or the wing. Some people call it the wing pitch, which I'll admit this tarp doesn't do too well. I think it's because the center seam here, it's sewed with two pieces. I'm not entirely sure though, but you can see it gets pretty wrinkly along the top, even though there's plenty of tension on it. But basically what it is of the 8x10, you do one corner and then the opposite diagonal corner, stake those out, and then stake the other two corners out, so you kind of get this kind of wing sail shaped kind of thing. And it's a good compromise. You get pretty good weather coverage, but you also get plenty of ventilation, and you can look out really well, plenty of room for cooking. It's a great setup if the weather is really, particularly the wind, is very directional where you're camping, and you know that the wind is going to come out of the west per se. You know, you just point this west, and then that'll break the wind, and then you shouldn't have to worry about getting rain splashed in that way. So anyway, that's all the pitches I'm going to show. I could go on for an hour with possible pitches, particularly with a tarp like this that's really versatile, that has tie outs along the entire perimeter and along the ridge line, and the bonded center pullouts that I've added. I mean, it's pretty much, the possibilities are endless. So those are just a few basic ones to get you started. So hopefully that was helpful to people. A few quick things to note I should have mentioned at the beginning is this whole time I've been using trees or this ridge line here. You don't need that. I could easily, this tie off here to this tree, I could replace with a trekking pole, and then you just have to stake out the trekking pole with some guy lines. Same thing with this ridge line. You don't have to use a ridge line and prusik knots. In my opinion, it makes it pretty easy. I really like it, but you could save the weight of carrying the ridge line and just tie each end to the tree if you're going to use it that way. So, in my opinion, tarps are awesome because of how versatile they are, and a lot of fun too. Every time you go out, you can sleep in a different shaped shelter, unlike a tent. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to post a video response or post a comment. I hope that was helpful. Thank you everyone for watching.